Good morning. This is Ron Brown. It's Sunday, December 7th, 2025. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to go back into one of the original smart groups that was put into the software shortly after it was released. It's by customer David Galardi, and I'm going to talk about his Catapult's smart group. As always, the market is your teacher, and I'm going to click on this and just read this quickly. Any stock index or ETF mentioned in this presentation is not a recommendation to buy or sell. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. Now, I've never done this before in all the years I've been doing this, and that's show off the original smart groups, but I'm going to do that today. I was just messing around, and I thought, well, let's go back and review some of this. You can see that under the green smart groups, and these have been around for quite some time. You see the name David Galardi, and he's got 3 smart groups that he put in here, and he uses these, or he did. I haven't talked to David for a while. He used these for prospecting, and I'm going to concentrate on the catapults, and I'll explain what they are, or what the smart group is. And before I do that, I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to right mouse click, and I'm going to select Group Properties. And here's an explanation of what the catapults are. You can see it's dated on Friday. These are high relative strength stocks in strong groups that have turned negative on the Force 2-day indicator. Accumulation is high at B or better. The Force 13 is green, which indicates the 2-day force is a minor pullback, and hopefully the stock will catapult its way higher. That's where the name comes from. Now, the Force Index is today's volume times yesterday's volume times today's price, and we use a 2-day and a 13-day. There are some other options in the software, but these work well. So before you go too far, right mouse click and select Manage Group Subscriptions, and make sure that all of these are checked, because you may not have David's checked, but you can see I have all of them checked. So once again, just click on any of these smart groups, right mouse click, Manage Group Subscriptions, and make sure they're all checked. And I'll come back and visit some of these other ones in some other videos, but I thought this was kind of nice to go back in time, probably 20 years, and just see if this still works or not. Now, additionally, I put a couple of charts in a folder. This is going to be in the December add-on. I wasn't going to change the add-on, but I decided to. I put David's name in here. It's under Ron Brown Top-Down Analysis Charts, folder number 16 with his name, and there's 3 charts in here. The charts I'm going to be using today are 1 and 3, and next week I may do the bongo signals. Okay, I'm going to take a look at my screen layout up here. You can see that I'm in the catapults. I'm just using the scorecard. This works just fine for this. And then I have a weekly chart, which I've had in my charts, but I've dragged it down to this folder also, just so we can have a weekly comparison. And then here is the chart that goes along with it. It's number 1. Let me get out of here. Bring up the quick pick on the charts, and you can see that this is chart number 1. Bongo signals I'll talk about some other time, and then the weekly candlestick charts, which is over here. But let me get back to my where I want to be here. So this is a chart that goes along with this. If you look up here at the top, okay, you can see that I need to change this color to red. Maybe it'll show up a little bit better. You can see that this is a force 13 day, and it has been in effect for 81 days. Look at this long green run, which began back here, and you can see the power of the force over a 13-day period by the histogram. When the histogram is high, that means there is buying power over the 13-day period. And then this is the force index 2-day, and it crossed over 3 days ago to the downside, days down. See this right here, days down since the force crossed. And I already have it, and I'll also put it down here in this warehouse view. So you know how long this has been down. 0 is a crossover day, just like with the moving averages. So that's why it says 3 rather than 4, because 0 is a crossover day, and you can see that this actually happened 4 days ago, this being the crossover day. So if I go up here and click on this and edit the current view, and let's look at the force 2-day. The force index is the volume multiplied by the difference in close from yesterday. So this would be the 2-day force, and this would be the 13-day force. Now there are other force indexes available in the program, but this SmartGroup is based upon these two, and it's price and volume based, just like VPA is. So that's what makes it work well with VPA. So let's just go back in time on this one right here, and you can see that I'll just start right here arbitrarily. If you look down here, you can see that there is strength seen returning after a downtrend on here, a VPA flag, and the force 2-day turns positive, and the force 13-day turned positive right here. And then it's had this really spectacular long run on the 13-day. Now back here, the 13-day was weak, and you can see that the price was below the moving averages. And here the 2 turned positive based upon a 2-day average of the force index, but the 13 stayed negative. So you would ignore that signal. Positive, negative, positive on the 2-day, negative on the 2-day. 2-day turned positive here, and it was confirmed by the 13-day force index. But then we get up here on this, you can see that looking at the candle, this is in a trading range now, but they both went negative, but the 13 turned positive the next day, as did the 2. So during this accumulation phase right here, there are whipsaws, just really no continuity. So what do you look for here? Well, you look for a spike in the histogram, and like right here, here's a couple of VPA flags. What do we have here? Strength seen returning, confirmation of that strength right here. And the histogram, if I pull this down, it is stronger than back in here. So that means there's more force coming in. And it's strong, getting stronger here on the 13-day also. You know, it's a judgment call on these, but when they both turn positive, that means there's buying interest. Now, where does the name Catapult come from? How did David get that? Well, what he's looking for is he's looking for the 13 to be positive. And look at the histogram here up here as volume was coming in. What he's looking for is a positive 13-day and a pullback in the 2-day force index. If you look down here, you can see that it is moving up, but the 13 has stayed positive, but here is a pullback, and the catapult would be when this turns green again on the 2, that it would catapult higher. And it did that, pull back on the 2, but notice during all of these pullbacks, which are potential catapults, I'm going to use the word potential catapults, that the 13-day stayed positive as the 2-day force turned negative. And these are potential entry points because of the strength remaining in the longer-term force index. Now here you can see the histogram's getting weaker in the 13, and there's a pullback in the 2, but it never did turn negative, and this is just another consolidation period. Now look at the relationship here with the moving averages. Here's the 200, here's the 100, here's the 50, and here's the 18. And that is a nice, strong fan with these moving averages separating further and further as the stock moves up. Now I just grabbed this stock arbitrarily. Let me take it down here. Okay, I want to take a look at the weekly. Now there's no histogram. I'm sorry. There's no force index in this chart, but it's a weekly chart, and this is the relationship of the strength of this chart compared to the S&P 500. So if this is moving up, it means this stock is outperforming the S&P 500. Now, of course, you can use the force index with the moving averages 3 and 6 crossover. Let's see, I'm this. No, I'm not on that chart. Where was I? I don't know. But anyway, it was a nice chart and a good chart to illustrate what I was talking about. So let's go into the designer. You can see these are dated December 5th, and here are all the stocks that passed this, 80 securities. I'm going to click through to the ranking module, and I'm just going to overlay it on top, and notice it's set on the Wilder RSI 14 weeks. So the stocks on top should have the very strong charts. But remember, these are also stocks that are setting up as a catapult. Now here is, I'll bring this up full screen. Nice fan here. Shot up. There has been some distribution on this after the gap up, but not much, because you can see there's buying support coming in to these 1, 2, 3 candles right here with a long lower wick. The force index 2 is red because it's a pullback, so hopefully this stock is going to catapult higher. And let's go back here to this when it was a lot cheaper. You can see both the 2-day force and the 13-day force turned positive on the same day, and then as this stock was moving up, notice how the histogram on the 13-day was getting higher. The histogram was getting higher as there was more force coming in to the move. And all of these here were catapult days, potential catapult days, I should say. And this would have been a good trade, just, following the principles that David uses. Now, don't forget these other indicators down here. Here's the 3-6 crossover, the histogram down here, and these are volume pocket pivots here. So when this stock, let's go back to this area right here. There was no volume pocket pivot here, but as it started moving up, there's a blue bar here. There's a test, confirmation of the test, closed near the high, and volume coming into it. Let's see how the histogram looks up here. I don't think it was a big deal at that point. No, not really, but you can see it was starting to build a little bit here on the 13-day. So you're getting multiple signals here. You're getting the histogram on the 13-day and the 2-day. And then a few days later, you're getting a confirmation here with VPA. The fan is starting to form already, and there are volume pocket pivot signals, and the force index, the 3 cross the 6 right here, and the force index has been green for quite some time down here. So all of these can be used together. Now let's minimize this. Look at the weekly chart on this. Wow, very, very strong. Let's look at one more. I haven't looked at these. I'm just doing this on the fly. So back here, the 2 and the 13 force index turned positive. Here's turned red. So it came back here, and then here's your Catapult. And it took off. This is an inexpensive stock. Confirmation with the volume pocket pivots here. I'm gonna edit. Let's see if I can go to a darker green here. See what it does down here. Yeah, you can see these bars better now through the blue. So I'll leave it like that. But that's the theory behind this SmartGroup, and you can see that several of these, and I'm just doing this randomly, I haven't pre-selected anything, have shown that it works. So let's take a power semiconductor. That should be enough. So the fan is forming here. You can see clear back here that the 2 and the 13 force index turned positive. Then here's your Catapult. Right here, 13 stayed positive, another potential Catapult, buy signal, and this histogram looks pretty strong right here, but there's all kinds of potential buy signals based upon this signal. Now, I'm going to leave it at that. What I'm giving you in the add-on is I didn't want to do that. Wanted to do this. It's under chart number 16, using this chart and this chart. And next week or soon, David's got another SmartGroup here where he uses the bongo signals, and I'll get into that and explain the bongo signals. But this is all the time I have this week, so I'll make sure that I upload the charts, and hopefully you'll find this useful. Thanks for listening, and have a good week.